Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Millennials in Charge, where we unpack the adult experience, one honest conversation at a time. I'm your host, Lex the Millennial, and today I just want to apologize. Last week I put out an episode where I talked about financial guidance, and although the world was crashing and burning around me, I sat up here and talked about credit and investing, and I got through that episode, and I was kind of on autopilot. And then God spoke to me, and He was like, "Why didn't you talk about the fact that you're going through a lot right now? Why didn't you let them know, like, life is life, but there are healthy ways to push through?" And last week, me getting up here and recording, it was not a healthy way to push through. I pushed through because I'm trying to remain consistent for myself. I made this commitment to myself. I made this commitment to you guys, and I wanted to produce something last week, even though all hell was breaking loose in my life. And I should have just got on here and told you guys that, and I didn't. And so I apologize for that, because one of the things that I love about Millennials in Charge, one of the things that drew me to do this was to be honest and transparent. And last week was an honest conversation about basic financial guidance, but I think it should have been an honest conversation about all hell breaking loose in my life and how I'm dealing with that or not dealing with it. So, with that, that kind of brought us here to this week. And today we're going to talk about, when that brave face begins to feel heavy. We all can put on a brave face when deep down we're all just trying to survive. We can show up, we can smile and say, I'm good, when deep down we're exhausted, we're tired, we're fighting things that nobody knows about. I'm talking about we're being stretched thin, and life just keep lifing. So I kind of want to talk about that moment when you feel like you just want to disappear, and you should be drawing closer to your community and reaching out to your community, but all you want to do is isolate. And we're going to dive into that, because one thing I realized last week is that that brave face is heavy. It's super, super heavy. And, I stayed up last week to get the episode done and posted and made sure that it came out on time. And probably that Thursday and Friday of last week, I passed out. I was just asleep for 2 days. And it was like a relief I felt from that sleep. So let's talk about that mask of strength. We often put on a brave face. We often have this need to be okay, right? Because you have so many people depending on you. So it's rare that we actually have time to sit down and assess what we're going through, how it's affecting us, and maybe even the vague thought of how we might get through it. Somehow we've become masters of masking, right? We're showing up, we're smiling, we're functioning while breaking down internally. And when somebody asks you, "How you doing?" "I'm good," just becomes the automatic lie we tell. It's just the automatic lie we tell without even thinking about it. "How are you?" "I'm good." Barely seconds pass between that "How are you doing?" and the "I'm good," because you like, let's just move it along. I'm good. Nothing else to say, right? So why do we do that? I think it's a combination of the fear of burdening others with our problems. You know, I think everyone has something going on, right? And sometimes we kind of diminish our own feelings or our own things that are going on or our own burdens because we don't want to burden others with our problems, with our issues, with what might be hurting us. Sometimes you feel shame in not having it all together. Newsflash, none of us have it all together. None of us have it all together. I get on here and I'm talking to you guys, but I always tell people, like, I'm also talking to myself. I'm not just talking to y'all, I'm talking to myself because it's things that I need to hear, as well as I feel like everyone else might need to hear because I want us to realize that we're not in a space that we're alone. It's easy to feel alone, it's easy to isolate, but I don't want you or even myself to feel alone in this because we're not. Oftentimes, the masking is kind of a survival mode conditioning where being strong is how many of us were raised to cope. Honestly, that's how many of us were raised just to cope, just keep moving, keep dealing, you know, keep pushing forward. Although that is somewhat useful, I use that term loosely, useful, it'll get you through the day to day, it'll get you through the week to week, but ultimately it's not helpful. Over time, it will compound and you will eventually end up breaking. So I want you to think about the last time you told someone the truth when they asked you, how are you really doing? When's the last time you gave the unfiltered truth about how you're doing? Like, I'm not great, and then should they ask another question, you go into detail. When's the last time you did that? Because that's important. And I know some of us feel like, what's complaining going to do about it, right? Like, if I tell somebody how I'm actually doing, what's that going to fix? It doesn't fix the problem, but I think it helps you with acknowledging that something is wrong, that everything isn't okay, and it's okay. Life be life, and like that's bottom line. Life be life, and things are gonna constantly come at you. But I think that acknowledgement that everything is not okay is very important. I think it does something for you and kind of just, for me, it's at least a sigh of relief because then it's like, oh, okay, I might need to unpack that bag a little bit later, but at least I'm acknowledging that it's not okay. I've always been the strong one for most of my life. I'm the one that keeps going, who doesn't really complain, who just figures it out. Most people don't know, like, that I'm going through things. Even my family, like my mom probably, because we're close, but like my sisters, they probably wouldn't know what's what I'm battling. Probably until I get through it, honestly. My best friend, she'll know, but I'm not the easiest person to just be like, yeah, you know, this is what's going on. Oftentimes, because when you tell people things, it gives them an opinion, and just depending on the situation, I don't want you to form an opinion before I form my own opinion. That's how I've lived my life. But being strong all the time can become a performance. I used to do it a lot when I had perfect patty syndrome, and I'll talk about that at a different time. But when I had perfect patty syndrome, like that desire to just be perceived as perfect, like everything's fine, I was putting on a performance for everybody, and I just wasn't okay. And that performance, it's like if you stop smiling, if you stop moving, it feels like it all will fall apart. It feels like it all will fall apart. I am like on my faith journey. And when I tell y'all, my faith has been tested heavily, heavily. It's really just the closer I'm trying to draw to God is like the more stuff keeps coming up in my life. And I'm just wondering, like, okay, God, because God will allow things to happen, even though He knows the ultimate outcome, but He allows things to happen to see what you'll do. And my faith has just been tested. But the funny thing, not only has my faith been tested, but it has been like reaffirmed. I remember a few weeks ago, I went to church. I was serving at church. And when I walked in, my team leader said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Nothing. I'm good. What's up?" And she's like, mm-hmm. She's like, I'm gonna want to talk to you later. And I'm like, I don't know why. Like, I'm chilling, but sure, whatever. So, the service happens. Um, we're cleaning up, we're doing stuff. I'm getting ready to leave. I'm like, hey, all right, like I'm good to go. Can I leave? She goes, no, I want to pray for you before you go. And so I'm like, okay. And her and another woman come up to me and we all hold hands and the other lady starts praying and I just start boohoo crying. Like I am boohooing, hyperventilating, snot is running out of my face. Like I am boohoo crying after I've been in here all day. I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's great. I'm fine, whatever. I don't know why she tripping. She's being weird, like I didn't understand why she like, no, something is wrong. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And I'm just in here bawling, you know, nose is running, can't stop crying. Um, they finished the prayer and then they just hugged me. And then they were like, you don't have to go through this alone. She's like, whatever it is, like, you don't have to go through it alone. Like, we're here for you. And I just felt like God had reached down and he was just in that prayer circle at that moment. And he knew that I needed to hear it because even though I thought I was appearing well, I thought I was, I guess faking the funk well, right? My team leader, like, she walked me to my car and I was like, is that what you felt? And she was like, yes. She's like, I could feel your spirit was heavy. Like, I could feel that you were not okay. And it's funny because in my head, I'm like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't know what you're talking about. But the release I felt from that cry, and it did let me know like my spirit was heavy, even though I'm thinking I'm wearing it well. I'm smiling, I'm here, I'm productive, I'm interactive. But sometimes you can't hide from people, even though you feel like you are, even though you're smiling, you're in a room full of people. Sometimes you just can't hide from that because your spirit or even your energy will tell a whole different story than what your mouth is saying. So that for me was really telling. That was really, really telling for me. And I appreciated it. I mean, I knew that things were going on in my life then too. And I was ready to like retreat and just having that community, having them reinforce that it's okay if you're not okay, and having them reinforce like it's okay if you want to talk about it, and if you don't, then find someone you can talk about it with and talk to someone about it, and I think that's very important because they weren't being nosy and they weren't trying to pry. They just prayed for me and they let it go. I don't even think I ever went into what that was with them, but they were like, it's fine. We just need you to know, like, we are here for you. And that if you don't feel like you can talk to us, find someone that you can talk to so that you can actually be okay versus just saying you're okay. So that was That was major for me. And that was major because I know that society celebrates strength, you know, and they really check on the strong friends, right? Sometimes we can equate vulnerability with weakness, but it's actually courage for you to say, I'm not okay. It actually takes a lot of courage for you to say, I am not okay. And that does not make you weak. It makes you smart because then your community can rally around you if that's what you need, if that's what you want, right? Like I said, pretending to be okay does not actually help you heal. It don't. It just helps you keep pushing along. What do you do when it feels like you just can't catch a break? Because sometimes it just feels like it's one thing after another. Like, what do you do when that happens? There are seasons in your life when it just feels like the pressure won't let up. When every day feels like another fight to stay afloat, whether it's emotionally, financially, spiritually. And the thing about seasons is that they change, so you have to realize that this pressure, these battles, they won't last forever. And during those times, like your instinct might be to shut down. I love me a good shutdown. Oh, I love me a good shutdown. That is something I'm still working on. I love me a good shutdown. Like cut it off and keep moving, right? Put that in a box, put it on the shelf, keep it moving. But that survival mode really just can turn into isolation if you're not careful. And isolation, believe it or not, makes things a lot worse. It doesn't help. And if you go into isolation for too long, it can actually cause you to be sick. Make you sick, make your body sick. And I don't mean like a cold, but I mean like it might cause you to develop like different things just because you're in complete isolation. That's why they say God did, God did not intend for us to be alone. He wants us to have community, he wants us to have a partner because isolation is a silent killer. It's a silent killer. I want you to realize something. Life moves fast, but healing does not. Okay? Life will constantly move. The world will keep turning. Healing is not as fast as your day to day. It's not. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes patience. Burnout doesn't always look like quitting. Sometimes burnout looks like overfunctioning. You ever see someone just, they're going through a lot and they just getting a lot of stuff done? Sometimes it's just hyperactivity. Sometimes your burnout is like, oh, just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And if you stop them, they might sleep for 2 days. Like I said, you might just sleep for 2 days, because you're over functioning at that point. I want us to be cognizant that rest is not laziness. It's not. If you need to rest, let your body rest. Rest is for recovery. You have to let your body rest. I don't know if y'all ever seen that meme where it says basically I have so much to do, like I just take a nap. That's real. I've done it. Those naps are the best naps I've ever had in my life. Like when I have so many things that are overwhelming me and I just take me a nap, best time of my life. Best time of my life. Like best nap I ever felt, best sleep I ever felt, even if it's not a long nap. It's like it's something that I need. It's that reset that I need. So don't be afraid to rest, even though you feel like there's so many things to do. There's so many things you should be doing. Don't be afraid to rest. I want to talk about the isolation trap. Like, why do we hide when we need help the most? Right? Why do you just say, phone on D&D, I'll go to work, I come home, I may eat, I may not eat, and I'll go to sleep. I don't answer, texts or calls for days on end. And when I do, like, I might just be distant when I do answer. So Why do we do that? I found myself wanting to cancel plans, ignore messages, avoid calls, not because I didn't love the people in my life, but because I didn't have the emotional energy to perform. So oftentimes, once that brave face gets heavy and you're like, I can't do this anymore, you no longer want to perform. You no longer want to pretend like it's okay. So what do? You hide, you isolate. But real community isn't about performance, it's about presence. So, even if you don't want to talk about what it is, if someone wants to just come over and sit with you, let them, let them, because there's something about their presence that just might help you more than you realize. You might end up talking, hey, if y'all just want to sit there and watch Netflix together, that's okay. But be wary of isolation traps. Shame and exhaustion can make you retreat when you really need connection. It'll make you retreat. Like, not doing this. Isolation, initially, it feels safer, right? It feels safer, but it often makes your pain louder. When you're alone with your thoughts, I think if you're an overthinker like me, you will, you can play it all. It's like several screens playing at one time. You're playing it all over. It makes the pain louder. It makes your imagination run wild when you're alone with your own thoughts, thinking about all the hell that's broke loose. You're given worst case scenarios, like you're not really evaluating like what's more likely to happen. You're like worst case scenario possible in your head. We have to realize that we don't have to have the perfect words to reach out to someone. You just have to be honest. That's why I got up here today, because I really wanted to tell y'all, like, I was not honest last week with myself, and I was not honest last week with y'all because I'm going through a lot. Life is life, and there's so many. I mean, the world is going through a lot. Our nation is going through a lot. It's so much, and it's so hard to navigate just all of it on top of your day to day life. It's so much going on. I feel like the world is on fire. So it's so hard for me to deal with my personal stuff and then try to stay, informed about everything else that's going on in the world. It's hard. It's exhausting. Honestly, it's exhausting. But what I have been doing when someone asks me, how are you doing? I mean, not great. I say, you know what? I stop saying good. I start saying, I'm all right. And, they'd be like, what's all right mean? Like, I'm not the best, but I'm not the worst. And then I'll like maybe go into details about what's going on depending on who the person is. But I started being honest and like, I'm all right. I'm not good. I'm not bad, but I'm just okay. I'm just staying afloat. I've even told people sometimes I've just told people like I'm just going through the motions, because that's sometimes that's where you are. Sometimes that's all you have. It's like I'm literally going through the motions. I'm getting up, I'm going to work, you know, I'm going to the gym, whatever it is. Like you're still doing your routine, but you're not mentally there. Last week I did not feel mentally there. I got up here, I gave good information, and it all was like a blur. I think I was on autopilot. Like, I have to do my episode, I have to talk about something, couldn't figure out what I was going to talk about because, again, my world is on fire. And I got up here and talked about financial guidance. And that is so funny to me. I was cracking up with my husband. He's like, it was still a good episode. I'm like, I appreciate you. But I really like was on autopilot. And I was like, and I should have got up there and told the truth. But I was grateful because from last week's experience, it really told me that, you know, it kind of led to this week's topic. And even next week's topic, I've already thought about it. So I appreciate my ability to realize I was wearing a mask and to kind of take that off this week for you guys and be like, it ain't all sweet. Right? It ain't all sweet. It was important for me this week to let myself be seen. To let myself be seen. Y'all, I typically like to wear something nice when I get up here. If you watch it on YouTube, I try to do my hair, might do a light beat. And I just really ain't like my hair isn't like I mean, it's a neat, messy bun, but like I just didn't have it this week to do. I just didn't, you know. That's the reality. So I'm letting you guys see me, even though everything not okay. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. So I'm letting you guys see me. So what would it look like for you to let someone else help you carry a little of your load? Right? What does that look like? That looks like being vulnerable, right? Your vulnerability is the bridge to authentic connection. If you've been feeling disconnected with someone because you've been giving them the cookie cutter answers, the bridge to getting back to that connection you had is going to be your vulnerability. It's going to be you being honest. It's going to be you allowing yourself to be seen. Even if the picture's not pretty, it's going to be you allowing yourself to be seen. That is going to start with you seeing yourself first. You're going to have to look in the mirror and see what you see. Because I was talking to my sister and I was like, I've been wearing a mask. And, it was like that moment of clarity I felt when I realized that. Like, I think we initially were texting and she was like, "Oh, how you doing?" I was like, "Good." And then I had to go back and I was like, "Actually, no. This and this is going on." You know. And then, that kind of opened the door for her to say, "Well, I got this and this going on." So, that vulnerability is a bridge to authentic and genuine connection. Sometimes your greatest strength is going to be saying, "I'm not okay." That doesn't mean somebody can fix it just because you said, "I'm not okay." But sometimes your strongest moment is going to be letting someone know that you're not okay. Allowing someone to help you when things aren't easy is going to help you realize that you're worthy of love, support, and softness, even when you're not at your best. Even when you're not at your best, you're going to feel this relief, just a sigh of relief of saying, "I'm not okay." If you need to cry, cry. Let me tell y'all something. That cry I had at church, when I tell y'all, it was, and then I got in the car and I cried some more, okay? I sat there and cried some more, and then I stayed there until I could see. And then I was like, "Oh, I feel a lot better." I feel a lot better. I think I cried some more that day, but it was like because as I was talking to somebody else that day, and I was like, I didn't realize like all of this stuff was weighing on me, and I started crying to another person. But the release my body felt from allowing that to just kind of flow off of me was amazing. So if y'all need to cry, listen, don't underestimate a good cry. And men, I know some of y'all don't like to cry, but cry in the shower. Like, if you don't want nobody to see you cry, I know y'all be tough and strong, you know, and I know a lot weighs on y'all too. So, if it's too much, and prayerfully you have a partner that you feel safe with, that you can tell, like, this is a lot. The pressure's heavy, you know. This is becoming too much. I pray that you have a partner like that. And if you're not really a crier in front of people, cry in the shower. But I do suggest it because, y'all, the release I felt was amazing. I want to leave y'all with this. Life will always have highs and lows. Okay? You don't have to face those hard moments alone. Let someone in. You don't have to tell everybody your business, but let someone in. If it's just one person, let someone in. Let someone love you past your brave face. This week, be brave enough to answer honestly when someone asks you how you're doing, or be brave enough to ask someone else the question and really listen to them. If they say, I'm good, ask what's good about it, because going a step further and not just accepting I'm good might be the difference between, well, actually, this is going on, or just saying I'm good. Okay, that's good. Most people just respond, oh, that's good to hear. Just try to make sure that you're cognizant of your response and you're listening when someone may be trying to let you in. Be cognizant of how you listen. I want us to remember that community heals, guys. Community heals. You don't got to shoot in the gym by yourself. Community heals. It's so important. I don't think I truly realized how important community was until now, honestly. Like, I know it takes a village to raise children, all of those things, but I think not only the village, but the community you have around you, not just your close friends, but even your church community, like, you know, your mom friend community, whoever it is, the play groups you're in, the community heals. Isolation does not. So if you are wearing a brave face or a I'm good mask, feel free to DM me. Leave me a comment, whatever. Let me know how you're doing. I want you guys to use the hashtag seen not strong to share your story and connect with someone else. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Millennials in Charge. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe, rate, leave a review, leave a comment, and follow on Instagram at Millennials in Charge and at Lex the Millennial. Feel free to follow on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Share it with someone who might be quietly carrying more than they're letting on. Okay? Remember, hashtag seen, not strong. Let someone see you this week. Let one person see you this week. As always, let's keep unpacking this wild ride we call adulting together. See y'all next time. Don't forget to catch Millennials in Charge every Wednesday at 6 a.m. Eastern. You can tune in on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. See y'all next week.